Welcome back to the 9 Acre Talk podcast.
Hello, everyone.
We're very happy that you've joined us.
We're always happy you join us.
So, Nana, what's been going on this week?
Oh, wrapping up the school year.
Yep,
Wrapping up
like
the
everybody,
2023
so
school year.
If you guys weren't aware, didn't listen to our first episode, we do both work for schools, so it is the end of the school year for the spring semester. Doesn't mean anything to me. I teach year round, so it doesn't matter. But the most important thing to the 9 acres for this week for me is we finally got what?
We got a little bit of that wet stuff finally.
We finally got some rain.
Yes.
But when I say we finally got rain, we barely got rain.
Yeah, it did settle the dust.
That's about
it. But we'll take it. We'll gladly take it.
We will take all of it that they will send us.
Yep. And today is sunshiny.
It was very pretty today. A little sunshiny. And I can tell that we finally got some rain around here. We're so dry in Kansas. I was looking up today. It does... The drought map shows that we are in extreme drought,
Yes.
like a level 4 extreme drought. So it is pretty desolate right now. Lots of crops not turning out. We're starting our gardens up.
Yep.
We've
Yep.
started filling our raised bed gardens that we built. We've got some more that we're planting, but we are going to have to start the watering process almost immediately on those because we just are not getting moisture at all.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we can't rely on Mother Nature now.
That's right. Still got eggs coming out of our ears everywhere.
We've been utilizing them.
We've started figuring out some things to utilize them for.
Yep.
And farmers market hasn't started up yet.
No, it hasn't.
But
I'm sure that as soon as it starts up, we won't have a plethora of eggs anymore.
Yeah.
Because that's been the hot.
It was usually a hot item last year. Even people that we said we would advertise it to people and say, hey, we got eggs for sale, like on Facebook or whatever. They would never buy any, but as soon as we opened up farmers market and we were there every week, they would come by. Those same people that said that they didn't need any eggs would all of a sudden start showing up every week buying eggs. So I think it's like a convenience thing. They're there,
Yeah, I think so too.
Maybe they're just being nice to us. I don't know, but that kind of just is how it works out.
Yep.
Speaking of farmers market, of course, not a lot of vegetables starting off, so we're going to have to start off with some baked goods, some eggs, some things like that till the vegetables kick in.
Yeah.
But that should be starting in the next couple weeks, and we'll kind of keep you guys updated. As you know, if you follow our YouTube channel, last year we kind of made it a habit of going live from the world's smallest farmers market unconfirmed.
Yeah.
Which everyone got a big kick out of and loved to see what was offered each week and who comes by and stuff like that. So hopefully we're going to bring that back.
Yeah, we did live at 5 from the world's smallest farmers market unconfirmed.
Yep.
But we're not at 5 anymore. We're at 6. So.
Yeah.
But it's okay. We can still
It'll be fine.
Live at 6.
Actually, it works out better because, like I said, I teach all summer long. I was kind of rushed.
Because we were rushing to get there.
Get set up, get everything done, and be live at the same time, like while we were setting up.
Right.
So,
yeah.
But it's not a big deal either way for us. So, we've kind of talked a little bit. We talked about different subjects that we could have for this episode. And I was thinking that we talked about us in the first episode. We talked about profits on a small farm. But first of all, what we probably should have done is we probably should have just asked, so you want to homestead or farm on a small scale?
Yes.
If you are one that finds yourself thinking about that, debating that, like we did, then there's some questions that you need to ask yourself, reflect on yourself, and assess where you were at currently in your lifestyle, in your situation.
Right.
For Nana and I, you know, you have to remember I grew up on a large farm, so when my family thinks of farming, my parents and all them,
they
think big farming. They think that when we said that we want a farm, they thought we meant we wanted several hundred acres, you know, 100 mama cows, and wanted to spend a lot of time on a tractor planting row crops and stuff like that.
That's not what we meant.
That's not what we meant. Now, do not get me wrong. I'm not going to say eventually we won't get to that point, but as of right now, that's not what we were talking about. So, to me, that is the first thing that a person needs to do when they start thinking, I want to become a homesteader, or I want to have a small farm. The first thing that you need to do is you need to establish right off the bat, can I utilize where I'm at without going somewhere else? Because honestly, a lot of people think that, oh, I have to move out in the country, I have to have unsettled ground, you know, nothing there in order to be a homesteader or a small farmer. That's really not the truth.
No.
Some people that you can look around and find on other YouTube channels, one of them, you know, that I can think of right off the bat is, you know, Mud and Mascara, for one. You know, they're in a pretty urban environment, but they homestead to the hilt. I mean, and
that's what my first thought was. Annette at Annie's urban kitchen and home. I know I just butchered that. My sister from Australia.
It's Annie's Kitchen and Urban Homestead.
Yes.
So she's in an extremely urban environment in Australia, and she very much is playing the homesteading role.
Yeah,
she's got
they utilize
lots of gardens.
Every bit of their land.
Every bit of their yard they're utilizing. Other channels, like, you know, there's several other channels out there that way that do that kind of thing. Bree,
Blue Self-Reliance, she does.
Yep, Blue Self-Reliance, she's real big on, you know, she utilizes their yard to grow. And, you know, a lot of us think that that's like this new thing that, like, you know, oh my goodness, we're going to have all these gardens and feed ourselves. And it's a lot of like our generation and younger, because somehow we lost that used to be commonplace. But you know, you can, when you're wanting to start leading this lifestyle, if your environment around you, if the area you live in, you can start utilizing that right there. That's where you need to start, in my opinion.
If the only land you have is just your front porch or back porch, you can do it right there.
Start putting a lot of planters in on those, and start raising you lots of green leafy vegetables of some kind.
What are those little tree things? What are those called?
A green stalk.
A green stalk. That's perfect for a small area.
So that is step one. First of all, establish that that's what you want to do in life. You want to raise your own vegetables or food for yourself. Find out if you even enjoy that.
Right.
Like, I know people that have really dove off in, we're going to garden and we're going to do all this, and then they come to find out, well,
and hated it.
They hate it because they really like to go fishing, or they like to go play golf, or they like to, you know, go hang out with their friends. And honestly, you got to be at home.
Yeah.
For the majority of the time. So, you know, you have to make sure that you establish.
It definitely needs attention.
Yeah. Establish whether or not if you actually enjoy doing that. The next step in that is you can add small livestock to a very urban environment in the forms of quail or
good thing. Yeah, quail.
Rabbits.
If you're in the middle of town, quail's a good thing to raise.
Quail don't make noises that like will violate most
codes
ordinances
or whatever. Ordinances
or codes.
Or rabbits. Yeah, rabbits. They don't make noise.
So you can usually get by with a small bunch of that. So
I know.
That would be my recommendation. If you're wanting to start a small farm or a homestead, start where you're at first.
And a lot of towns, I mean, they do allow chickens. If you don't have a rooster, they're really not noisy.
There's several in our area of the country, but I know other areas of the country, they just flat don't allow. There's actually a town not very far from us, they allow no livestock whatsoever.
Yeah, that's true.
No chickens, no rabbits.
Yeah.
They allow
but
only.
Some do.
Their town specifically says dog or cat. Like,
yeah.
Which means you can't have a hamster, you can't have a fish, you can't have nothing like that.
Well, I wouldn't live there because they ain't telling me what I can have.
I'd be the first one to move out of that place. I can guarantee you.
No doubt.
But so that's where you need, in our opinion, that's where you need to start.
Yeah.
You must start small scale at home, where you're currently living, and then start establishing. This is what I do. Once you utilize that spot to the utmost till you max that area out, that is the time that then we need to start looking at a bigger area.
Yes.
And by a bigger area, you need to really learn to think outside of the box. You know, we tend to think that, oh, I must go out in the middle of nowhere in the country and buy acreage.
Yeah.
When you could actually buy just barely outside of town. You know?
Yeah.
Now, some things that you need to look at when you start looking at buying a new place to homestead or small farm. Because, honestly, ground may be available, bare ground, somewhere to farm or homestead, but there's nowhere to live.
Right.
So things like that you have to keep in mind. Of course, the end thing is to pull a camper there and live in it.
Yeah. That's all fine and dandy, but...
Until you live in a camper.
Yes.
Now, I know people who have done it.
And love it.
And love it. Mm-hmm. But other people, you got to remember, you're in a very, very small environment that really is made to
temporarily
stay in temporarily on vacations and stuff like that. Not live in year round.
Because they wear and tear pretty easy.
Pretty quick. So you need to think about, now, as a temporary solution, pulling that onto the piece of land while you build a house, while you are moving in a modular, whatever like that. That is a, you know, I could see that being a good idea. Once you establish that, okay, I'm buying this piece of ground that's undeveloped. It has no barns. It has no infrastructure. It has no house on it. So then you have several decisions to make there.
Then you got to get electric out there. You got to get
Are you gonna
water
go on grid? Are you gonna get electricity?
Right.
Are you gonna go off grid? Are you gonna go into solar panels and generators and stuff like that that cost a lot of money for initial cost? So that leads me down the next road. When it comes to buying that ground or buying the infrastructure to build the houses, build the barns, fence it, run electricity, run water, or have a well dug,
Yeah.
all of that. That's going to take finances.
Yep.
It's going to take cash to do that. Capital improvements, of course, are investments for the future, but no matter what way you go, it still costs money. So while you are doing the small scale at where you currently live, you need to be
thinking ahead.
Really thinking ahead and setting back cash or savings for that environment.
Yep.
And whatever school of thought you believe in, you definitely need to wrap your head around the fact that I don't want any debt. You don't want to start off this in debt. And some of the most successful people at moving off grid, moving to a homestead, and have it be successful is because they did their homework and they made sure they were debt-free before they started.
Yes.
Now, whether you like the Financial Peace University Dave Ramsey thing, or you have some variation of that you like, somehow the biggest thing that you want to do is you want to eliminate debt.
Yes. Because
the last thing you need is a bunch of bills to pay while you're trying to establish this new farm. Now, how big of a farm do they buy?
Depends on what they're wanting to do.
Exactly. So, at that point, that is when you really need to sit down and have a heart-to-heart with your spouse, which the only way that this will ever be successful, in our opinion, is if you are equally yoked in it.
Yes.
One spouse cannot say, we're going to homestead,
and the other
drag along the other one.
I really don't want to do it.
It's
no, you
never
both have
be
to do
successful.
Because it takes a lot of work.
So you have to make sure you're equally yoked, and you really need to really have a heart-to-heart of how big or what you want on that small farm, or what you don't want. To me, that's the thing that really gets overlooked is, you know, we try things to figure out that we don't like them.
The only thing that I have found that he has told me that we will absolutely not ever do is peacocks. He told me no.
They're pointless for our farm. They don't
tells me
give
yes
you
about,
anything.
Pretty much yes about everything, but
yeah.
No peacocks. No peacocks.
I'm not going to listen to help, help all the time. I'm not doing it. So, how big of acreage do you need to buy? If you're wanting to just garden and raise a very small amount of, say, chickens or quail,
just a couple acres.
A couple acres will do all you need to do.
Yep.
And will keep you very busy.
Yes.
Now, in the state of Kansas, you have to have 3 or more acres to have a freestanding septic system.
Right.
So, kind of the rule of thumb here is it'll be 3 acres or more.
Right. Yep.
Unless you're very close to a city, so you can be tied onto a
sewer line
or something like that. Now, and in our area, the whole composting toilets and all that kind of stuff,
that's not a thing.
They don't let them do that. Like, I was just watching a government meeting here the other day for this area, and they are county commissioners and them were saying that's not something that they allow in our county. Now, our county is not zoned or anything, but it does have to have sewage inspected when you build.
Right, yes.
Or a sewage plan when you build. So, that is kind of a, something you need to look at. Now, also, in that, if you are going to have livestock, say small ruminant livestock, goats. Sheep, you know,
pigs.
Not a ruminant, but
oh well, yeah,
pigs.
You are correct.
You probably need to increase that amount of acreage.
Yeah.
You're going to want to get to the 5 acres or more. Now, anything over 5 acres, we can start talking about large animals or large ruminants, but you also have to keep in mind, you need to check your local extension or talk to someone local and find out how many cow acres your country supports.
Yeah.
So in certain areas of the country, you know, it may take 30 acres to support 1 cow year round. In other areas of the country, it may take a ½ acre.
What does it take here?
So we are like that. We are 1 to 2 cows per acre here, with very, very rotational grazing.
Yeah.
For the most part. Now we get in a severe drought like now, those numbers are going to go way down.
Yeah.
So that's the other thing. The other thing that you have to keep in mind is anytime you start adding livestock to your farm or your homestead, is you have to have some way to keep it in.
Yeah.
And keep it from going over to the neighbor's house.
Fencing.
Or out in the road. So you have to have infrastructure. You have to have fencing. Now whether you go down the electric fence road, you go down the permanent fence road.
Whatever you do.
Whatever road you do. Either way, it's expensive. It's something that you're going to have to pay for. So make sure that you do your homework when it comes to infrastructure. Also, you're probably going to have a shelter of some type for most of it.
Right. At
some point in its life. So you need to start thinking about, I'm going to have some kind of a shelter. A barn, a shed. Now, whether you build that from recycled lumber and tin, or you build it from, you know.
Or you have someone come build you a big old fancy one.
Yeah, or a carport or whatever.
You do.
You know, that's still an added expense and cost.
I have seen people around here just take some fence posts and put a tarp up.
And it is a very temporary solution.
Yes.
That will not handle very bad weather.
Yeah.
But will keep them out of the sun.
Yep. Will keep your cattle cool, your whatever livestock you have.
So this whole episode has been about the fact that you want to be a homesteader or a small farmer. Where do you need to start?
Yep.
I think we've clearly established where you need to start is where you're currently at. Now, if you're in an apartment, we understand.
Yeah.
But you can always window box garden.
Exactly. If you have a window, you can put something out there, herbs, something.
You can always get you 2 to 3 Coturnix quail and put in a bird cage, and they'll appear to be your pets that still produce eggs for you.
Yep.
And if you raise them out, you can process them after 8 weeks.
Yep.
And have really good eating.
Good protein.
Good protein. So it's something that you can do even in an apartment. Yeah. Now, next week we plan on continuing this discussion. We're going to start establishing garden planning in the next episode. So how do you plan out your garden? What microenvironments you need to be considering? What environments as far as water and sun and things along that line. So make sure you come back for next week's episode.
Yes.
We hope that today has brought some kind of a light to you, and if you're starting this journey, take this as step 1, and we will try to start helping you along in this journey of small farming or homesteading. And until next time, farm on.
Keep strong.
We love you.
And so does God.